How's it going, everyone? So, I wanted to do this video because I think that the current discourse isn't how it should be. For example, a lot of people on the left, including myself, would classify Joe Rogan as transphobic. That being said, a lot of people wouldn't because it's not what everyone sees as transphobic. People will be like, well, it's transphobic when you go out of your way to like misgender someone. That's transphobic. Or when you're like refusing to even like just acknowledge they exist at all. That's transphobic. And it's like, well, yes and no. Like that person's more transphobic. So I wanted to do something, and that's kind of what this video is about. And it's on the levels of transphobia. So I kind of wanted to do this just because I think it'll help discourse a lot, and it will also identify people who are at different levels. So we can actually have like normal discourse about this that doesn't just label someone who's like Joe Rogan equivalently to someone who's like kill them all, they're all monsters, like like some crazy Nazi. So yeah, let's get right into this. So we have level 0 right here. So this is you are not transphobic at all. And I have it highlighted in blue because this is primarily going to be very, very progressive people. Almost all of them are going to be left-leaning politically. They're very accepting people. Yeah, they're going to pretty much treat you equally. Like, just they're not going to shit on you for being trans and any type of thing like that. All right, so the next type of people are going to be level 1. So once again, level 1, primarily left-leaning people, which is why it is in blue. So a lot of you guys don't know what xenogenders are. Once again, this is like, I used to be right-wing, so my audience is primarily right-wing right now. That being said, xenogenders are pretty much like, gender is a social construct. You can pretty much identify as anything. This could be like, simple as someone being like, I identify as a female deer. Please use doe as like my preferred pronouns. Like that stuff like that. To a lot of people on the left, not like all of them, obviously, but a lot of people, this like xenogender stuff is still not normal, and you'll get judged by it, and sometimes people will even refuse to do it. This is level 1, so you'll be primarily hateful to like once again like a subsect of a larger group as trans people. Like most trans people usually don't identify with xenogenders, but some of them do. So yeah, that is level 1. And now we're getting to the fun part, which this is where I would classify most people are going to be level 2. So level 2 are primarily going to address trans individuals with their preferred pronouns. So if they're a male to female, they're going to, she, her, female to male, they're going to he, him. But they're going to be the people like Joe Rogan. So these people that, while they'll use preferred pronouns, they don't really consider you like specifically like a woman, but you'll say you're a trans woman or a trans man. But they'll still try and keep you out of sports. They will still keep, they'll still think you're like, trans women are like a subcategory of women. They're not actually women. Whereas in one, they would consider trans women to be women. They wouldn't be bigoted towards them. The reason it's in black is because I don't think like this is like politically like inclined, and like this is like most people don't like, do a bunch of education on like what gender and sex is. So this is like what a lot of people like kind of think. The current discourse, in my opinion, is around 2 and 3, which is why they're going to be in black. But yeah, 2 is pretty much like your average person. They'll still subcategorize trans women, not really consider them real women, I guess, but they will use gender pronouns and try and be accepting at least. So now we're getting to level 3. This is like normal people, and then also has like hints of Republicans pushing certain types of agendas with this. So why I underline this in red is because you have people like Ben Shabibo who will go out of his way to misgender someone once he finds out what their biological sex is. So, for example, he would call Blair White a him. Absolutely ridiculous. If you saw Blair and didn't know that they were born male, you would address them as a woman. Like, it's crazy that he would even say something like that. So this is pretty much people who like don't know that gender and sex are 2 different types of things, so they conflate the 2. This doesn't necessarily make them a hateful person, but it has so many undertones of bigotry within it that you could say someone that does this is a hateful person, I could say. So this is pretty much just going out of your way to misgender someone. Piece of crap move. But, you know, it is, I mean, it is kind of where the discourse is. It's around 2 and 3. And because it's around 2 and 3, that's why a lot of people, they'll be like, I'm 2. I'm not transphobic. Like, obviously, like, I'm not going to consider trans women, but, like, I'm not transphobic. Like, I'm not going on misgendering them and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's primarily where I see the discourse. I think pointing out that the discourse between 2 and 3 is also important. I think obviously 3 is way more crazy, and 2 seems a little bit more grounded in reality. But they are both forms of transphobia. So getting to the other one, so we're way past the point of like even like considering, you know, are trans women and stuff. Like we're way past this. We're now at level 4. So level 4, you're just hateful. You don't want them to exist. You don't think they should exist. You don't think anyone should be assigned hormones. If there was legislation that would hurt them, you would be down to pass it. I have this written in red because this is almost always going to be Republicans. Almost always. There's some like crazy tankies to hate them too. But this is like 98% in America is going to be right wing that supports this legislation that will actually like drastically affect trans people. And although this is like a super big minority, and this is, in my opinion, this isn't where the discussion is at. It's still something that should be noted because these people do exist, and you should be able to label someone like, holy crap, like I probably shouldn't listen to anything they say. Like they're like completely like brain dead on this. Like you like people like this, you won't be able to bring them down to a different level. Someone who's entirely hateful, usually just like they're pretty much like gone usually. Anyways, that is what I wanted to discuss. I wanted to talk about this because I feel like when people say, oh, you're transphobic, or oh, like you're like, oh, I'm not transphobic, it's like we don't really have like these labels to categorize different types of what transphobia is. A lot of people like are on these like different levels. And by the way, if you're like a level 3, you're not going to like even be like, oh yeah, like trans women should like even like possibly go into sports. Like you're gonna be like, no. So yeah, I think the discourse primarily is around 2 and 3. I think that 2, if like said, hey, they get a little, you know, the genders are different than sex. You probably shouldn't be bigoted towards them. Maybe you can convince a lot of 2s down to being 1s, but it's going to be really hard when you jump at someone, calling them transphobic, and they don't even understand what level 1 is, and they're thinking the argument is within 2 and 3. Which, by the way, is where I think the argument is. So I think when you're talking to a normal person, maybe just like slowly ease them into it, into like just talking about gender and sex being 2 different things. Like just like, for example, you could bring up like a trans person extraordinarily passing, right? And just say like bring up a picture, right, on your phone, show them to this person, like, oh, what do you think of this woman, right? And don't mention they're trans at all. They're completely passing and everything. The person's like, oh, like, you know, they're cute and whatever. And be like, okay, well, you see how you identified them as a woman. This person is a trans woman. You literally have a definition of the social construct in your mind. Maybe you can wean them down into being like, oh, you know what? Trans women are women. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that's the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you thought it was stupid, comment. I love it when transphobes comment on my stuff. And yeah, that's the video. Peace out, everyone.